What's up, everybody? Last week we got Season 4 Reloaded of Black Ops 6 in Warzone. So, finally, the meta changed for long range. It's pretty much going to be the same for close range, but we're still going to talk about it today. Before I get into it, link down below, I'll have my long range video from yesterday, which that meta did actually shift between Season 4 Reloaded and the update earlier this week. And I'll also have Twitch link down below if you want to come see me play Warzone, Apex, or whatever I'm playing. Definitely variety streamer. And all of my other social medias and my single player YouTube channel are all linked down below if any of that interests you. I do appreciate the support anywhere. And as usual, we're going to go through loadouts and then go over to True Game Data. So I have True Game Data linked down below as well. So please go support Tony and the team over at True Game Data. But without further ado, enough yapping. Let's go look at the close range meta. Okay, so starting off at number 5, we actually have the Striker from MW3. This has been a slot that's been taken up by the MX9, and they're pretty close. So you can run the MX9, find my previous close range videos. It's that loadout. They're pretty close. But I wanted to mix it up, and I do think the Striker is slightly better. Plus, it's nice to get some MW weapons on this list. So we have the XRK Sandstorm. The XRK Sandstorm is going to give you good bullet velocity and good damage range, which is actually not what it says it does on True Game Data. And what's funny, too, is when you go over to control, which is why I need to stop talking, you go here, and now it says recoil control and gun kick control. But it didn't say that when I first went over. But it's interesting. They have these categories now for MW2 and MW3 weapons. And all of these do about the same recoil control and gun kick control, not damage range, bullet velocity. That was a mistake. But you're going to go XRK Sandstorm. Then you're going to go Striker Recon Long Barrel. If you want a little less recoil, you can go with the Elite Long Barrel, and you're not going to quite get the same damage range of bullet velocity, but you get gun kick control, recoil control. But if you want to push out that bullet velocity and range, go with the Recon Long Barrel. Then we go Jack Slash, movement speed, sprint speed, and it helps with vertical recoil control. There's some other options if you want to go with more recoil control or firing aim stability. A lot of these are about the same, but the extra movement speed or the extra sprint speed from the Jack Slash and the extra movement speed are both nice. 60 round drum. If you're playing anything less than quads, you can probably go 48. But trios, I'd recommend 60, and quads, you need 60, but solos, duos, and maybe trios, you can go 48, so you don't get the ADS penalty or the movement speed penalty. And then finally, high grain, that gives you more bullet velocity, more damage range. You can swap out the high grain for a couple things, like if you don't like the iron sights, you can go with an optic. You can also go with the Seiken ZX script to give you more firing aim stability, because they did reduce the visual shake on MW2 and MW3 weapons a little bit, but not a lot of it. And so this would give you some more firing aim stability while also giving you recoil control. For stocks, the priority tactical stock gives you recoil control as well as movement speed and sprint speed. No stock I would stay away from, but it will give you a lot more aim down sight and sprint to fire speed, but it's going to hurt you in so many other ways. It's not really worth it. And then you could go the light stock here if you want more movement speed and sprint speed, but then you're going to be hurting gun kick control. So I would mostly stay away from stocks. Otherwise, consider probably the tactical stock. If you want movement speed, if you want more gun kick control or less visual recoil, you can go with the assault stock, but then you're going to lose recoil control and sprint to fire speed. I prefer to just stick with the high rounds, but those are options. And there's also the Chimera Laser Light, which gives you better tac stance spread if you like to use tac stance. It gives you sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. But once again, I would stick with this loadout. And unfortunately, you can't do 8 attachments. So moving on to number 4, we have the Compact. You can put the Compact here. You can put the SAUG here. You can put the PPSH here. They're all pretty similar. I prefer the Compact over all of them, although I don't always love the Compact. And this, for the 8 attachments, you're going to go optic of your choice, compensator, reinforced barrel, or you can go long barrel if you want to push out the damage range. I don't think you need to worry about bullet velocity on your SMG, especially on the Compact where you're not going to be shooting it as far. So I go with the reinforced barrel, so you can get some bullet velocity, some damage range, but I really think it's between that and the long barrel. Here is the under barrel, which I think has the most changes that you could make. So right now I have the G grip on it, which helps give you recoil stabilization, horizontal recoil control. It gives you less recoil control than the vertical foregrip, or less horizontal recoil control than the vertical foregrip or the Ranger, but it has this hip fire and ADS accuracy where if you slow down your pushes in the buildings a little bit and you hip fire before you ADS and shoot, so if you're running a building, you hip fire and transition to ADS, it actually gives you a nice bonus. If you're not going to do that, which I still forget all the time, I would recommend the Ranger foregrip, where you get a little less horizontal recoil control than the vertical foregrip, but you get the sprint movement speed. But if you, especially with the compact, you really want the recoil control, you can go vertical. There's no real cons to any of them except the G grip does give you a visible laser, but I've been running the G grip. I've been trying to remember to hip fire first, although I usually don't remember. But if you're going to remember to change your playstyle just a little bit, or that's the playstyle you have, the G grip is definitely the way to go in my opinion. You have to go extended mag 3, I think, for all squad sizes here because it gives you 60. And the biggest issue with the compact, other than it can feel a little uncomfortable to shoot with the fire rate and the recoil combo, is that fire rate makes you just burn through ammo. So duos or solos, I think you can go extended mag 2. Solos, you can go extended mag 1. For trios and quads, I wouldn't recommend doing less than extended mag 3 unless you're going to hit all of your bullets, and then you could maybe go extended mag 2. Then I have commando grip because I like the sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. If you want to focus more on sprint to fire, go assault grip. If you want to focus more on ADS speed, go quick draw grip, but I prefer to help both out, so I go commando grip. I go no stock like always, movement speed, strafe movement speed, hip fire movement speed. A lot of people go balance stock because you also get the the aim walking movement speed, which can help in a gunfight, as well as the strafing move speed, but I just go with the no stock to get the overall base move speed bonus. And with the G grip, you get the hip fire bonus on both, and you get more of that on there. And then finally, go recoil springs. On a lot of guns, I will recommend overpressured for SMGs, but just with the compact, I would heavily recommend recoil springs. But if you feel comfortable running overpressured, go with overpressured. Oh, and then as for 5 attachments, you remove recoil springs, no stock, and commando grip, and you leave the first 5 attachments. Or you can remove the optic. I would actually probably remove the optic and commando grip, recoil springs, and leave your movement speed bonuses with the no stock. For number 3, and you can switch number 2 and 3, because the Ladra does kill a little bit faster than what's at number 2, but the C9 is the easiest SMG to shoot in the whole meta. And we have the exact same loadout we just talked about with the same changes you could make. You could go from reinforced to long, and you could go gain twist, but I'd really recommend long or reinforced. You can go G grip, Ranger, or vertical foregrip, but I wouldn't recommend a vertical foregrip because the Ladra is pretty easy to shoot, definitely easier than the compact, so I'd really choose between, do you want sprint move speed or do you want the hip fire to ADS accuracy? Extended mag 3, the Ladra is also an ammo burner. You can get away with extended mag 2. I ran that for a while in quads to not have the ADS penalty, but I wouldn't really recommend it in quads, and it's a little bit sketchy in trios, although you can make it work. I would go with extended mag 2 unless you're going to play solos or duos. Then I go commando grip for the same reasons. You go assault or quick draw if you want, but I stick with commando. The no stock is the same as the light stock, and of course you can go balance stock as well. And this is another gun where I go recoil springs over pressured, unlike the 2 guns that I have ahead of it, because it is a little more difficult to shoot than both of those guns. So moving on to number 2 is the C9. Now the C9 does have the slowest TTK on this list, but it's the easiest to shoot. I don't know why I have recoil springs on it. It's the easiest to shoot. It's the same loadout we were just talking about with the same changes you could make. And just like on the compact and just like on the Ladra, which I didn't mention, take off the optic, the commando grip, and the fire mods, and leave compensator, reinforced barrel, G grip, extended mag, and no stock. Same thing with the mag. Here you have 50. If you're going to run quads, you got to have the 50. Now, it doesn't burn through ammo like the compact and the Ladra do, but you do want the 50 rounds. 40's okay. I ran 40 for a little bit, and I mostly play quads. Just wasn't quite enough. You can make it work in trios, although I would really recommend extended mag 2. Solos or duos, run extended mag 1. And then same thing, no stock or balance stock is a preference thing. And then overpressured or recoil springs if you're struggling to shoot it, but I would really go overpressured because it's easy to shoot. And number 1, the fastest TTK on this list, and the meta that has been the meta since it came out at the beginning of the season, and that's going to be the LC10. It kills the fastest on this list. It's got good movement speed. It just feels good to shoot. It's so easy to shoot. It's the easiest gun to shoot on this list besides the C9, and it's very close behind it. And it's the exact same loadout we've been talking about. Your changes would be to take off the Kepler Microflex, the commando grip, and the overpressured rounds. So that is the loadouts. That is my meta ranking for Season 4 Reloaded at this point. Now, there is a TR2 conversion kit for the TR2 that would make it an SMG. And so if that's dominant, maybe that sneaks into here over some of these. But knowing how the game and the meta goes, I doubt it. But, you know, if it does, I'll make an update. It'll probably be in the form of a short or a reel or a TikTok and not a full-blown YouTube video. But if that does change up the meta at all, I will mention that. So we have the Striker or the MX9 here. We have the Compact, or you can put the SAUG here and potentially the PPSH at number 4. At number 3, we have the Ladra, which if you would like, you could switch it with the C9, but that's really your 2A, 2B. And at number 1, the clear number 1 is going to be the LC10. So that's the loadouts. That's the rankings. If you're just here for that, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like this type of content. I want to see it first. And comment down below what you think of my rankings and my loadout. The rest of us, we're going to go over to True Game Data. So we are over at True Game Data now, and you can see I have these loadouts built in here. LC10 and C9, I put the overpressured on here. Ladra, Compact, Recoil Springs, and then that Striker loadout that we just talked about. So I have it set to shot locations as combination, and then we just ended at 30 meters because it's default 80 and you don't need to look at that. So here you can see the LC10 has the fastest time to kill and the third best damage range, dropping off at 14 meters. Not super far behind the C9, which doesn't drop off to 14, which is part of the reason why I have it as number 2, 14.9, so less than a meter. And then the Striker drops off at 15. One of the reasons the Striker is where it is because you can't use it in ranked, and a lot of people do play ranked, so that makes it a little iffy. Plus, it's got a lot of visual recoil, and it's like the 4th best time to kill on here. You can see the C9 is the worst time to kill, but like I said, it drops off pretty far. The Compact drops off the earliest at 12.5, but it also has the 2nd best TTK, which is why it's at number 4, is because that early drop off burns ammo. It's a little bit shaky. And the Ladra, however you pronounce it, has the 3rd best TTK here, but it also drops off the 2nd earliest, which is one of the reasons why it's behind the C9, and it does burn through ammo and is a little more uncomfortable to shoot than the C9. But the LC10 is comfortable to shoot. It's got the best TTK, the 3rd best drop off. And so we look at ADS move speeds. The Striker does fall behind there, and it's pretty much the same across the board for the BO6 options we have on this list. The Compact is a little bit slower. The ADS time for the LC10 is the fastest. It's not way ahead of everything, and the Striker is the slowest, but that's just kind of how she goes. The Ladra is right there with the LC10, and so is the Compact, and the C9 does fall a little behind, but barely. Bullet velocity for the LC10 is by far the best. The C9 is close, which is another reason why it's number 2. And the Ladra, Compact, and Striker don't have good bullet velocities. Crouch speed, once again, you have the LC10 number 1 tied with the Ladra. The C9's right behind. Fire rate's 800, which is about comfortable for me with the LC10. C9's really comfortable too, but once you start getting over 1,000, it just is too fast to be comfortable. Although the Ladra's not as uncomfortable as the Compact, despite having over 1,000 fire rate and pretty close to each other. Let's see what else matters. Move speed, once again, the LC10's right towards the top. It's right behind the Ladra. The Striker does fall behind, and the C9's like right behind the LC10. Not a huge difference here between going from the Ladra down to the C9. Reload times, they're not right ever. No shots at Tony. Sprint speed. The sprint speed for the Striker is actually pretty good. Thank you to the Jack Slash. But that and the Ladra, which is number 1, are not like way faster than the other options on this list. They're all pretty dang close. Sprint to fire, the LC10 does suffer a little bit where the Ladra shines and the Compact shine. They're both good on that sprint to fire, but once again, they're not like way ahead. And the C9 is even closer. And tac sprint speed is not filled in. But yeah, that's that's where I have them ranked. That's why I have them ranked. That's looking at it a little more analytically and statistically. So if you hung around for the whole video, thank you so much for watching. Once again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and comment down below what you think of my rankings, my loadouts for each gun, whatever. And don't forget to check out all the links in the bio, including the long range meta, Twitch, my socials, my single player channel, and of course the great true game data. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on Verdansk. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.